Hi everyone. Our verse for this week will be on Ephesians chapter 4 verse 25 as we continue on the subject of speech. I will read from the NIV translation. Therefore each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor, for we are all members of one body. To start, I want to ask a question. Where does falsehood come from? It comes from our old nature, the flesh. When we get saved, we renounce our old nature. However, that flesh is still lurking around in us. Embellishing our experience on a resume, boasting our abilities a little too much, and other white lies will have an effect on not only us, but also to those we tell those lies to. We see examples in the Bible of those lies and the effects they have. In Acts 5, we read about Ananias and Sapphira, and they're lying about the sale of their property and keeping a portion of the sale for themselves while claiming they gave everything to the Lord. They ended up getting caught, fell down, and died. Saul, in 1 Samuel 15, was told to completely destroy the Amalekites. However, he didn't do exactly what he was told. And then when Samuel asked Saul about the bleating of sheep in his ears when he claimed to Samuel that he did exactly what the Lord commanded him to do, Saul was ultimately rejected as king. And of course, where it all started in the Garden of Eden, where Satan deceived Adam and Eve by telling them that they would not surely die from eating the forbidden fruit. As a result, sin entered into this world, and we have been dealing with it ever since. Lying has consequences. Just in Proverbs chapter 19, we see lying being referenced 3 times. In verses 5 and 8, they mention that a false witness will not go unpunished. And the latter portion of verse 22 notes that it's better to be poor than a liar. However, what happens when, and I say when, because we've all been there, get caught in the lie? We need to confess it. 1 John 1:9 is a very good verse to focus on as an example of admitting when we are wrong and how God will cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Moving on to the second half of this verse, we need to speak truth because we are members of one body. In verse 16 of Ephesians chapter 4, this is explained as being one member of the body, joined and held together by every supporting ligament, growing and building itself up in love. I want to focus on 2 aspects. First is covering up the truth to save face, and the second, coming clean about your past. There are times when we're not willing to share the truth because sometimes it may cause pain, and we don't want to hurt that colleague, friend, or family member. However, the consequences of hiding the bad news can create more harm than we intended than just telling the truth in the first place. In the world of project management, the worst thing you can do is hide a problem. It will come back to bite you every time. As the last part of Numbers 32, verse 23 says, your sin will find you out. Coming clean and sharing the truth about your past can also be a very difficult process. But if you respond to it in a loving and Christ-like way, it can be very rewarding and strengthen your relationship with that brother or sister. It is in these times when you stand behind your friends, colleagues, and even your direct reports can be an incredible encouragement to them and lead to a lifelong friendship. All in all, as your parents likely told you when you were young, tell the truth.